I'm Leslie.
And I'm Shelly.
And we're Sisters in Ebert. Welcome back for another Movie Monday.
Let's go on vacation!
Yay!
It's summer!
To a wonderful resort that is 5 stars all across the board.
5 stars. Welcome to Club Paradise.
This is a 1986 movie. I started writing down the dates.
And this was part of our Summer of Movies.
Summer of Movies.
Where Dad made us watch every single movie that he ever enjoyed in his life. Every single day.
Well, not every, because every once in a while he'll say to me, "You've never seen that movie?"
I know. He's still pulling them out.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
He's very learned in movies.
So this is subject to our squirrel rating.
Yes.
Which, if you don't know, if you haven't been tuned in to these other summer movies,
or if this is your first time finding our channel,
welcome.
Yes.
But so we rate our movies that were watched in the summer movies on a squirrel system. Because as we were watching these movies, we would sometimes get distracted by turning our bodies slightly to look out our glass sliding door.
We had full view of our backyard,
yes,
which is wooded, and many animals.
Yes, and there's lots of trees right close, and there were squirrels. Lots of squirrels.
Because my dad would feed the squirrels. Yes, so there would always be many squirrels.
Yes, they were having their own little life out there, and sometimes the movies didn't tickle our fancy the way that Dad thought they would. And so we would find ourselves staring.
Or sometimes there would be awkward scenes that you don't really want to watch next to your parents.
Yeah, if you've seen 80s movies, you know.
What
sort of scenes we're talking about.
You know.
So if a movie is given a high squirrel rating by us, that means we did not enjoy it as children. And
it was boring, it was awful.
And watched the squirrels. So, but if it has a low squirrel rating, that means we really enjoyed it.
Yes. So this movie will be subject to our squirrel rating at the end. And we would like, we rate it for our current squirrels and our past squirrels as well.
Yes,
so
to compare where we are now as adults.
Sometimes as a kid you don't like something and then you watch it again and you're
like, oh, I should have given this a chance.
Exactly. So we open up to a firehouse, leaving for active duty. I said, much like January Man.
Yes, I was getting January Man vibes like nobody's business.
It was just like January Man.
It really was.
And this came out first. Did it? Yeah, because January Man was 89.
Okay.
So this is 3 years
I did know they were wearing air packs, though.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, unlike January Man, when they're like, I don't need to protect my lungs.
The NYPD doesn't need all that. Chicago's up on it, though. This is supposed to be Chicago Fire Department.
We see Robin Williams.
Yes, and this is a Harold Ramis movie.
Oh, yes.
So dog, a dog gets to stay on the truck. It's like a Dalmatian, and the guy who's talking, Robin Williams is our main character, and he said it would be cruel to make him come down in the cold, and he said he's just a dumb animal, and he said, no, Dave, we're the dumb animals.
Yeah, as they walk into this burning building.
So much like January Man, Jack is kind of over this. He's he's
a seasoned firefighter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Robin Williams. His name is Jack, right?
I was going to say, I forget his name. I don't know.
It's his last fire, and he's going to move to Warm Islands at St. Nicholas.
Yes, he's decided to retire.
Yes. He is hurt in the fire after rescuing the woman's baby, who was a dog, and he quits. So the next scene is
medically retires.
Yes. Which worked out for him, because he was just going to
retire. And then it's like, oh, now you got some medical money.
Yeah.
Too.
And all he's got is like an arm.
Yeah, it
thing.
doesn't
it's not
seem
like
he's
a got
major
like
injury.
like an injury that's going to plague him his whole life.
Yeah, after falling out of an exploding building.
Yes, yeah. And he did save the dog.
Yes.
So the next scene is landing in St. Nicholas on a tiny, tiny plane. I thought he buys this resort, but does he just buy into the resort? Or stay at the resort?
I thought he bought it.
See, later on, though, I get the feeling he didn't buy it, because that other guy owns it, too.
Oh, I think it's just his section of the island.
Okay.
Like how you buy real estate. Like,
okay.
I buy my house. Like,
all right.
Buy my beach.
I guess. Okay. So he's learning from locals how to live there and fix it up. He's fixing up this place to make it a resort that people can travel to and stay at. He's been there 5 months, and he meets Philippa at a bar, who's played by Twiggy. So another Twiggy movie. She was in Blues Brothers as a cameo.
Yes.
They run into the governor, who is very upset about many things and fears revolution of locals. So he thinks there's going to be a revolt coming.
But the locals love Jack.
Yeah, they think he's cool. Yeah, they like he's because he's come in and he's just totally acclimated to the island. Like,
yeah,
he's not
jumped into their culture.
Yeah, he's not trying to like Americanize the island.
Yes.
He's just trying to, embrace their culture
Yes.
and use it to live and make a living from.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Philippa is a party girl. Jack invites her to Club Paradise for the nightly live music. And as they are having fun, Mr. Gundy, who's the prime minister, walks in. The resort has 2 weeks to pay over $6,000 in back taxes, and there's a corrupt government because they didn't really owe these back taxes. They reframed things with the government. Brian Doyle Murray is running the neighboring Royal Hotel. He is the older brother to Bill Murray, one of the Murray brothers, and he tries to get Ernest to sell Club Paradise to him. So Ernest is the other guy that owns Club Paradise.
Okay, so they're in it together.
Yeah, he's the guy that was like the head of the band.
Yes, he's the singer or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Jack is a future partner of Club Paradise, he put. So he's currently living off of a disability settlement from fire.
Okay.
So he's not, that's
Not
why I'm not totally sure how he's financially linked. He probably is buying into it and starting to become like a partner, but I don't think he was like a full partner at this point. So he's trying to get this going.
Okay.
That's why I got confused, because I thought he bought it right off the bat, too.
Childhood was confusing, too, at this point, because we didn't know what was happening.
No, and I didn't understand anything about the revolution or, any of that. Or that there was unrest with the locals.
Yeah.
Okay. So Philippa decides to stay with Jack and fix up Club Paradise. They're staging resort photos and have many...
Yeah, it's all them.
Yeah, they're like the couples, like off in the sunset where you can't see their face.
And they're like fishing, but they like stage it so they have this really big
they got this giant fish and they like throw it in and like, whoa! So many people are coming and attracted by the new brochures. So they're showing people like in all these dark, dank cities, like in this cold, like
getaway. The Club Paradise.
So there's these two girls like in an office building and a couple and a couple cousins who are all attracted to this place. All are on a tiny plane, and Joe Flaherty is the pilot who recently passed away April 1st of 2024. Joe Flaherty passed away, unfortunately, and he could not find the island initially. So he crash lands and the first one off the plane yelling, "We're alive! We're alive!" I'm gonna try it. There's a break in the clouds. I'm going for it. So Jack pays Ernest's taxes, and the Prime Minister and Brian Doyle Murray are upset at this because they didn't think they'd come up with the money, but they did because they got all these people attracted to the resort.
Tricking them.
Yeah. The New York Times travel reviewer is also on the resort, along with Eugene Levy and Rick Moranis, who are cousins. They're an uncle and nephew, but it's a little unclear.
It is very unclear.
But they're both named Barry.
Barry and Barry.
Barry and Barry. Andrea Martin is a delight in this. I love her so much in this movie. She finds no running water, no electricity, and her towels are stolen from other resorts. There's a shared bathroom, and her name is Linda. She's there with her husband Randy, and they're trying to save their marriage, and they can't save a marriage without air conditioning. I agree.
Yeah, you need all conditions right if your marriage is crumbling and you are trying to fix it. Yes.
So Barry and Barry are desperate to meet girls, and Jack comes up and introduces himself, and he's like, "I'm Barry, like Barry whatever," and Barry whatever. And he's like, "Whoa, deja vu."
They're so funny.
Yeah, they're so funny. Oh,
I think they're my favorite part of this movie.
That and Andrea Martin are my three favorite characters. Linda wants to try parasailing. She wants to fly. And so the rope disconnects and splits as she's up in the air, and she's swept into the jungle, but she loves it.
Yes, she's so happy.
She's embracing the adventure of the island.
And she's also like separating from her husband a little in this moment, just like it's good for her to kind of get out on her own.
And how awesome was like every outfit she wore.
Oh,
in this movie. I was
so
I loved her fun clothes in this movie. And she's just this little thing. And
yes. A pretty bathing suit.
Yeah. Her pink bathing suit I loved. I was like, when she went parasailing, I want to fly. So Jack is talking Ernest into wearing clothes that he hates to perform. And he told He once gave advice to another young, proud black man to wear one glove, just one glove, and the rest was history. And he's like, oh yeah, who's that? Willie Mays. you think it's Michael Jackson.
I love that part.
Yeah. Robin Williams has some good one-liners in this movie.
It's Robin Williams.
Yeah, it's classic. The chef that they have working in the kitchen has 5-foot dreadlocks and won't cut his hair because of his religious beliefs. And Robin Williams fears that someone might find a 5-foot hair in their tuna salad, so he gets a huge chef hat. That's
stacks his hair into it.
So they can find a solution that everybody's happy. Which great boss.
Yes, he's working with everybody to make everybody happy.
Yep. Jack fixed Linda's shower, and he assured her that by that evening she'd have the finest shower possible.
Yeah, because there was no pressure before.
She couldn't even get any water coming out. Now it's too strong. She's holding on for dear life
to the shower. Blasted out.
To the shower curtain. She's as they're getting there too, the room is so tiny, and they're the husband is trying to figure out how
they took the picture.
He's he's way up in the corner, and he's like, I feel the angle. This is it. So the husband is super negative though throughout this whole thing.
I always equated this to, remember we stayed at that really bad hotel one summer
in Wildwood?
Yes.
Well, we stayed there a couple times, but the second time we stayed there, they didn't have hot water.
I have such strong memories of this. I remember, and it would blast out.
It was a freezing day too. Do you remember? We came back and we were
chilly.
So excited because we could get warmed up in the hotel. It was freezing.
Yes, and I always thought of that scene, when she's in the shower.
Yes.
That's what it felt like when we were in that
I
hotel.
remember that trip only having one sweatshirt I packed and no pants.
Because you're at the beach.
Short. Yeah, so I was freezing that entire trip, and it was just rainy and cold and awful.
Yeah, it was not a fun trip.
And and we couldn't really go anywhere or do anything because it was raining, so everything was shut down on the boardwalk too. So Jack gets the governor to help charm the New York Times writer, but I said, why would he help? Jack. He was a neutral evil.
Yeah, he wasn't the bad guy, because the bad guy's the other resort guy.
And the Prime Minister.
And the Prime Minister, yeah. So this guy was a neutral evil. You're right, that's a good way to phrase it.
Yeah, he's a neutral evil. He's just out for himself. He doesn't care.
And she was attractive.
She was very cute.
Attracting him.
I thought she looked kind of like Fergie.
Yeah, she did.
Not for you younger kids. Yeah, Princess Fergie. Princess Sarah Ferguson, not Stacey Ferguson, just to clarify. I'm for you younger people. Well, we're the younger people.
Fergalicious definition. Not that one.
But she had red hair, and she was a taller, she was pretty.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Berries are trying to hit on girls who immediately ask them to score marijuana. They're there with other guys, and they see this, but they're not dissuaded at all because they think oh, those guys are just there, as their cousins, they're not really. But but they're just using them to get weed.
Yeah.
But which isn't allowed on the island.
Yes.
But a lot of the locals partake, but so they go by taxi into the jungle with a driver wearing sunglasses at night, and Eugene Levy Barry asks if they should just hand over their wallets now and slit their own throats. Because he's we're going into the jungle with some guy we don't know in a cab, So the taxi driver gets them one joint, which the Berries are immediately ticked off about because it wasn't enough. And he's all they got is one joint. He's hey, I'm not a drug dealer. I'm a taxi driver. What do you want from me? So the Berries are very upset, and more upset when they get back and the girls' boyfriends have returned, and they pass the joint all around the table, and the Berries get none.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just passing it to all these strangers and stuff. And they're oh, you're just going to light it up here? Because it was right in the middle of the dance club.
Yeah, they didn't care.
Yeah.
I remember not understanding this part as a kid either, because we didn't know what drugs were.
No, we didn't. And we were 16 and 14.
We should have known what drugs were.
We did.
But we were good kids.
We were good kids.
You don't want to do drugs.
No, don't do drugs, kids. It's bad. It's just leading you down a life of awfulness.
Yeah, to be like the Berries.
Yes. So, Governor informs Jack that the island is set to be bought, and Club Paradise is the only thing standing in its way of this deal going through. I put the Andrea Martin limbo scene. They're doing the limbo like that's one of the activities at the dance thing, and she's like so low,
bent in half.
Like you can tell she must be on one of those little like wheelie,
like a cart,
like a cart. But she's going back and forth. So low. Jack and Ernest break into the boat of a prime minister and find the plan to develop St. Nicholas. They're pretty much going to turn it into Honolulu, like modern day Honolulu, like where it's just hotels and
they're
everything's
gonna erase
gutted.
the culture, make
everything's
this
gutted.
high, like lots of money, high rolling vacations.
So they're caught by the police because I put tipped off by the governor ? But I don't know. It was never really explained. But the prime, they got caught. So the prime minister threatens that they will be very sorry if they don't sell Club Paradise by that night. The governor and the New York Times, her name is Terry, I finally got her name here, are very chummy. She's like with him, like back at like wherever he stays, like at this nice, I don't know if it's his house or like his, I guess it would be like a condo or something, I don't know. But Linda is trying to sunbathe topless, which is also illegal. Like this is a very like religious, like island.
Yes.
And so there's like a lot of things that you're not allowed to do. So that's why like smoking is illegal.
Yes.
And no nude sunbathing was one of the big rules. And so
she's like branching out. She's free in her soul on this island.
So Jack panics as it's strictly illegal, and it spreads to Jackie, who's one of the little office workers, and
who's been trying to attract the berries for some reason.
The berries, And I said, don't know why panic since you just said the Constitution is written in pencil. Like, they said, like this is pretty much an island where the Constitution is written in pencil, because it's changed hands so many times.
Yes.
And invites all to a nude orgy picnic at a secluded Devil's Hole, like part of the beach. So he's like, it's spreading, because like she starts to. So everybody, agrees to go to this nude orgy picnic.
Which again, I didn't understand what was happening.
And they could be as free as they want there. Yeah. So, Rick Moranis Barry stays behind as Jack is going to hook him up with more marijuana and goes windsurfing. And a storm breaks out.
And he goes windsurfing.
So,
through the storm.
Yes. He can't let go. Like, he's been out there so long, his hands are stuck. Like this. The clothes of the people at the nude orgy picnic are stolen at Devil's Hole, but they left their watches and cameras.
Yes.
And they take off into the jungle instead of just staying there and waiting for Jack to come back.
Yeah, you think that would make more sense.
Yeah. So Linda is getting surrounded by a giant snake. Sorry, Shel.
Oh my gosh. I had to skip this part. I really did. It got to be too much.
No!
I watched for it briefly, and then it was too much for me to handle.
Yes.
I have a major snake phobia. I couldn't get past it. I've sucked it up through a lot of these movies. Yeah. This one,
it went on this scene, like, cause she's just getting like circled, and like it's like her whole body is like.
She's getting.
Yeah, and she can't like get it off of like her throat. Like,
oh my gosh!
It's covering up her mouth and her.
Okay,
throat.
move on.
So the jungle guests find the way to the nice resort, the Hotel Royal or whatever it is, or Royale or whatever it is. Barry is missing. He's still wind sailing at sea during the storm.
No one's concerned.
No. I mean, they're a little concerned, but he's like, he'll be fine. The guests have fun at Royal St. Nicholas, and Linda and Randy want to stay there. So Eugene Levy Barry goes back to the room and finds a garbage bag full of weed, and he's like, "Oh, that's a lot." He's like,
"This is too much.
Too much. It's too much. I'm gonna get 20 years for this." After briefly celebrating his score, the Prime Minister comes to settle up with Jack. And the cops are after Jack and Ernest. Barry panics and thinks the cops are there for him because of the weed. So he's like taking off with this giant bag.
It's a huge bag.
It's like a full-size garbage bag. And Rick Moranis Barry is still at sea, windsurfing in the storm. He's still stuck in the storm, but the storm hasn't hit the island yet. Ernest has organized a revolution and got staff to strike at all the different resorts. So all the locals are striking.
Banding together.
Yes. Barry finally washed up on the beach, Rick Moranis, but he can't let go of the windsurfing handle. He's got to think clear. First thing, what do I do? build a house. Because if you're washed up on a desert island, that's the first
immediately
thing
what you should do.
Build
Don't worry about fresh water.
No.
Don't worry about anything except building a house.
So there's a national state of emergency ordered by the Prime Minister because of this unrest.
Yeah, this uprising here.
The New York Times writer is going off to report about it, which he's freaked out about because he doesn't want it getting out. Jack is off to find Ernest and stop the revolution. There's a civil war pending, and the governor claims to be on Jack's side this time. So they found out that all the staff was striking because everybody went for breakfast at Club Paradise, and there was just like cereal and juice like set out for them, and they're like, what did she call it? Like a jump up breakfast. And he's like, well, what's jump up breakfast? Well, you jump up and make your own breakfast. Because they're like, well, where are the eggs? Where's the bacon? Barry and Barry finally reconnect because Eugene Levy is running with this weed and Rick Moranis is trying to find stuff to build his house. The New York Times is trying to get good photos of the police state right now. And Jack breaks the glass for the fire hose and then notices that he could just open the door as soldiers arrive at Club Paradise. Because he's like, it was one of those, he broke the glass to get the hose out, and he's like, oh. Like, he just opens the door.
He's a firefighter.
I know.
You should know that.
I know. Everyone, limbo to get away. So, because there's shots fired now at this point. So he's like, everybody limbo to get away. Randy and Linda are saving their marriage in the sand as all this is going on. Yeah. Governor shows up on horseback with the townspeople and tells the Prime Minister to stop on order of Queen Elizabeth II. So they called it, I guess this is a British-owned island.
Yes.
So he calls in, finally does something.
Yes.
Apparently he could have done this the whole time and didn't.
Yeah, you think.
Investors abandon St. Nicholas and they abandon the purchase, and they end up going to the Cayman Islands instead because you can do much better shady business out there.
Yeah.
The Berries are going on the plane with the pilot and bag of weed, and the pilot bails weed out of plane because there's too much weight as the Berries panic. No, yeah. Everyone else lives happily ever after on Club Paradise. And I just put that Peter O'Toole was the governor, and he played the governor, and he was in Lawrence of Arabia, Man of La Mancha, My Favorite Year, and he was also the voice of Anton Ego in Ratatouille. Yeah. I didn't know that, yeah. But other than that, like, that was the only big name I didn't mention previously, so he was the governor. But yeah.
There's not much trivia on this one because it's kind of
an obscure
film.
Yeah.
It's not very popular.
No,
it didn't do well.
I bought it on DVD off of eBay a couple years ago, and it was hard to find.
Yeah.
But I love this movie.
It was pretty good. Like, I did not enjoy it when we were kids. The giant snake was too much. And, like, I just didn't understand what's going on in half the movie. I liked the little funny parts.
Yeah.
Like,
the funny parts were what I liked, too. I didn't get the whole political aspect of it.
I wasn't understanding the plot.
No. So
I would give it a 6 squirrel rating.
Okay, that low. I was thinking 8 maybe back then.
Possibly.
Yeah. So it had a higher squirrel rating then. Now I love this movie. I've watched it like twice in the past 3 years. Like, it's a good movie. I like it.
It has some good funny parts. I hadn't watched it since that summer, so the rewatch, I was expecting it to be funnier than it was. But it was still fun.
Yeah.
It was,
and there's so much good, like, Second City actors in this movie. Like, so many good. And I didn't note, too, but the one who was the office girl who was topless was also Annie from True Beverly Hills.
Yes.
Yeah. Who's like our little meek and mild Annie. Yeah. Who was in so many things. But yeah, so I love this movie. And it's Robin Williams. Twiggy doesn't have as big a part in it, which is fine. But
yeah.
It's
bigger than in the Blues Brothers.
So yeah, she was just a cameo in that. But I love the Berries. I love Andrea Martin. They are like my entire, like, I love this movie. Like, her physical comedy. And those who are, probably younger would recognize Andrea Martin. She was in the Big Fat Greek Weddings.
Yes.
Yeah, she was the aunt or whatever in that. Yeah, the little aunt. Yeah,
the funny one.
yeah. Oh, he's a vegetarian. He doesn't eat meat. It's okay. I make lamb. Yeah. So she's been in so many things. So she's been on Broadway too.
Yeah. She's so talented.
Yeah, she's great. So I love for the actors. I love all the bit parts, and even Brian Doyle Murray in it. He's the one who was talking about the Cayman Islands. These all these shady business guys are from all over the world. They're just sitting in there doing these his little bit parts are great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now how many scrolls did you give it now?
2. Yeah. The snake.
Yeah. See, I would give it 0 because I'm not afraid of the snake, but.
Yeah. But if you haven't seen this one, try and find a copy somewhere.
Great.
It's worth a watch.
I watched it streaming.
Was it streaming?
It was streaming for free. I didn't have to go to my DVD for it. So it was streaming for free when I watched it. Yeah. Well, so if you look it up, it was Club Paradise in 1986 with Robin Williams. Okay. And I would definitely recommend it. It's a Harold Ramis movie, so. You have that National Lampoon's humor as well.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a great culmination of the comedies of that era. But do you have anything else to add on this one? No. Okay. Well, we thank you for joining us again for another movie review. Please follow us at Sisters and Ebert on Instagram and Facebook, and please like, subscribe, and comment on YouTube if you like this movie. Have you seen it? Have you heard of it? If you have, we'd love to hear about it. If not, we get it because it's kind of hard to find. But definitely check it out. Yeah.
And then let us know.
Yes. But please follow us and continue to enjoy our future output. And we have many in our catalog as well for if you want to check out our past posts as well. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you at the movies.